I'm going to start a new design. So up the top here where the little plus button is, I'm going to create a new design. Go to help, and then go to quick setup, and then go to make sure you're in millimeters, make sure you're in SolidWorks, and if you wanted to, there's a little tutorial, a lot of tutorials there, but we're not going to worry, just close. Okay. Here we're going to go to over here on the left, sketch. I'm going to choose my little orientation box here to go to the front, which just brings it front on. And then I'm going to hover my mouse over this little bluey grey square. It turns that light grey colour. I'm going to left click to select it. Now I'm in sketch mode. Whew, that was a tough gig. If you see me looking over to the side a bit, it's because I've got all the dimensions and details on a secondary monitor. If I swing that around, you can sort of see there. Anyway, that's my little cheat session. Okay, so we're going to start with a rectangle tool. So up here in the drawing panel, we're going to left click to select 2-point rectangle. And we're going to start here at the origin, which is right in the middle. You'll notice when your cursor goes there, a little box goes around that circle. I'm going to left click and drag, and I'm going to come in at around 35 by 50, somewhere approximately, because we're now going to dimension it. So if we hit D on the keyboard, that is our shortcut for dimensions, and I'm going to come over to this vertical line here and drag that number out and make that 35. And then I'm going to come along to this bottom horizontal line here. It turns blue. I'm going to left click on that, bring that down, and I'm going to make that 50. Okay, that's not too complicated right now. Whew. Okay, now we need to create a hole, a cylinder cutout for the piece of dowel that's going to be the leg that's going to kick the soccer ball. So we're going to come up here to our drawing tools and choose circle diameter. And I'm just going to scroll to enlarge that a little bit. And just randomly in this area here, because we're going to dimension all, I want you to left click and just draw out a circle, roughly around 12.5 mils. Again, I'm going to go dimension tool, click on that, and type in 12.5 and enter on my keyboard. And we need to set this little hole at a certain location. So what we want to do is this center point here has to be a certain distance from this left edge. So if we left click at the center of this circle and we come over and we left click on that edge there, we bring our dimension out, and that is going to be, here it is down here, 12. Okay, and we're going to set a height from the base as well. So we're going to left click in the center of the circle, left click that bottom horizontal line, bring that out, and that's going to be 12.5 and enter. So that's the base foundation for the soccer player, the block that they are going to be sitting on. Now we need to solidify this block, so we need to make it three-dimensional. So I'm going to press E on my keyboard, which is a shortcut for extrude, and at the moment nothing is selected. You'll see I've got this picture here. As soon as I hover, see how I hover my mouse over different shapes, they will change color. And that's the computer saying, well, what, you got two drawings here, you've got a rectangle and a circle. What do you want to actually make three-dimensional? Well, we don't want the circle to be three-dimensional because that's going to be a hollow. Alright, the dowel is going to fit in there. So we want to make this rectangle three-dimensional. So I'm going to just left click in that section there. And this little dialog box pops up here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're going to dimension that 60 millimeters. And it's already defaulting to millimeters, so I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. And when we hold our mouse wheel down like a button, we press and hold it, and then move our mouse, you'll see this little block now orbiting around. So that's stage number one. Stage number 2. We are now going to put a hole in the bottom of this. Alright, again we're going to have a stick of dowel. If you can imagine, let me find this picture. This is the block we're working on, this green block just here. Okay, so what we need to do is we've just created this little pull cord here. That's what the leg was, so that's where our dowel is going to run through. There's a little kind of pin underneath here to stop the player from exploding off of the field. So we're going to go to click on the bottom surface here, and over here in my little orientation block, I'm just going to click bottom. If I hold my control button down on my keyboard, and then instead of pressing and holding my mouse to orbit, I can actually press and hold my mouse and it pans around on the screen into place. So lock that in, Eddie. Okay, so now we're going to put a hole in the base for the pin to keep it on board. So I want you to left click on the bottom here so it turns blue, and we're going to go to our create sketch button, and we're going to select our circle tool. And look, if you're really clever, if you, without clicking any mouse buttons, okay, all you need to do is go along the bottom until you kind of find that halfway mark, and the computer says, hey, look, you've found a center mark. Keep that there for a second so that the computer registers it. And then we're going to do the same thing here on the left hand side. We're going to come up. Oh, look, we found a center point. Now if we drag our mouse again, as I'm not clicking anything, as I drag it and it finds that center spot, it basically locates when they join together. So we're going to left click at that point and draw a circle at about 12.5 millimeters. But again, I just click D for dimensions, click on that circle and type in 12.5. Boom, chicka, wow, wow. Now, here's the thing. We've used those reference lines to find the center, but it doesn't always constrain or fully define our sketch. We're better off actually locking that sketch in with fixed dimensions. So what we're going to do is we're just simply going to, while our dimension tool is still active, because it's coloured in up here on the ribbon, and the mouse has like the little dimension logo underneath it. We're going to left click in the center of the circle, left click on that left side and just click, and there's 25. I'm happy with that, I'm not changing it. I'm going to press enter, and then we're going to do the same with the bottom line. So we're going to click in the center of the circle, go to the bottom line. Now, technically speaking, when we select this, that blue circle should turn black, which means it's fully defined. So let's click that. Oh, 30, and press enter. Look at that, it is fully defined, which means the computer is really happy. That circle is locked in, Eddie. Whatever. Now I'm going to go to E to extrude again, but this time we don't want to make a solid feature. We actually want to cut that circle out. So on the right hand side here with this fly out, we're going to go where it says Operation New Body. We're going to left click on that and we're going to say cut. Okay, and then we're going to come along and we're going to select in this circle here. Now if I hold my scroll wheel down and orbit, you'll see that arrow is pointing downwards. Well, that's not going to work because there's no material downwards. So how do we cut something out? That's a bit silly, isn't it? So what we're going to be doing is this time we can actually hover our left mouse button and hold it and drag that back in, and you'll see we're getting a red preview to show we're cutting something. And we're actually just dragging it up to 20 and we're cutting that out at 20. Alright, and we're going to click OK. Now, just in case diabolical things happen for us, I want you to save where we're at. Okay, so we had to do a magical interlude here. I lost all of my files last week. I had saved them. I'd saved them onto my external hard drive, which then fell off the table, crashed, and lost everything. So while we're talking about saving, let's do this. Now, the problem being is at school, Fusion at home in your private sector will run through a cloud, okay, and all your work can be saved to a cloud. The problem is with school and the firewall, we can't do that. We have to export our file. So what we're going to do is, here is our file. We're going to go up the top here to File, and we'll click on that, and we go to Export. Now mine's going to look a little bit different. I'm not on my school laptop, I'm on my home laptop. But when we go Export, we're going to call this a soccer kicker. Yep. So file name, soccer kicker, whatever. Mine's version 3 because that's how many times I've been doing this. The Autodesk file is Autodesk Fusion archive files, the .f3d file format, so you don't need to do anything about that. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, okay? And I can't do it because I'm recording this at home, as I said. But over on the right-hand side is this little button with 3 dots. If you click that, what will happen is it'll open up like a network section. And as you can see, let's see if it does this for me. No, okay, we'll ignore that. But on the network button at school, if you have that open, you'll actually see that underneath there will be a file with your name on it. And that's actually like a hard drive that you have access to at school. So what I want you to do is I want you to click on network, unless you can already see what is dropped down. Whatever is already dropped down, you'll find where your file is. You'll double click on that network folder so that the computer registers it, and then you'll click save. Okay, well, it's being a doo-doo head for me, so I'm just going to go to that file, and so then you would click save so that the computer registers that you are now under the school network folder that is your name. And once you've done that, you'll click export. Okay, and once you've clicked export, now your file will be saved on the school drive. If you wanted to have Fusion on your laptop, you'll need to go and see the IT guys, particularly if it's a school laptop, and they can help get that installed onto your school laptop. And then you can do things at home. But the issue with doing things at home will be that if you want to connect to a file that you've just exported to the school network folder, you can't access that at home. So it's a little bit tricky, but anything that you do at home, you can save to a cloud. The only one way around it is to have a USB. And then you can export everything to a USB, and then you can have that USB at school, and you can open up your files that way. Sorry that it's such a workaround, but that's the way it is. Anywho, that's that interruption. Let's get back to it.
Shall we keep going?
Let's. What we need to do now is, so we've got, that's our front view. You can see up here in our little boxy cube up here, that's our front view. That's our bottom view. And what we now need to do is, you'll see very carefully the rubber band. That rubber band is going to be what causes the kick to happen. You can see it's wrapped around these little, there's another one on the other side. So we need to do a little hole all the way through the block so we can put a little bit of dowel through there so the rubber band has something it can connect onto. So we're going to spin this around, and then I'm going to lock in on the left side. Alright, so it's nice and straight on. And I'm going to click on that surface so it turns blue, so the computer knows that's what I'm about to draw on. And I'm going to click Create Sketch. Alright, simple again, nice round dowel. Let's get our circle tool. Now we're going to be dimensioning this again, so let's just not get too fussy about where we locate it. Let's click and draw that, and it's going to be 6.5, so I haven't clicked again. All I've done is I've just typed in 6.5 in that box. That's another way. Let's just drag that out. That's another way you can set a dimension. I'll show you. I'll Control Z and do that again. So circle tool, I'm going to click and drag out. Now I'm not clicking my mouse again. I've done my single click. I've dragged my mouse out. There's a dimension box there. Instead of doing a single click and then typing in that dimension box, I can just ignore that second single click, and now I can type in 6.5 and press enter, and that's going to lock me in. And I just hover my mouse over the numbers and drag that out of the way because we don't want to get too confusing. Now we're going to get our dimension tool because we're going to set a height from the top to the center. So we're going to click on the center of the circle and the top. It doesn't matter which order you put it in, and that's going to be 10 millimeters. And then we want this to sit halfway along there. This was 60 millimeters, so halfway is 30. All right, let's just pretend your brain isn't braining. And I said, I want you to tell me what is half of 60, and you're like, my brain's not braining, miss. If we clicked in there and I went 60, and I used this symbol as a divide, and did 2, so 60 divided by 2, and pressed enter, it does the maths for me. How cool is that? Yay? No? So now we're going to, like we did with the bottom, we're going to cut this out all the way through. So we're going to go extrude. Over here we're going to change new body to cut. We're going to select that circle, and I'm just going to spin that around, and this time I'm going to grab my left mouse button on that arrow, hold my mouse button down and drag that arrow all the way through and click OK. So we have that now all the way through. Let's just hit up here the save button, and it will ask you use a save. You'll say yeah. Okay. So we're just keeping up with our savings. Alright, do you need a break? Maybe we'll do another video, come back with importing the soccer player and how to extrude that shortly.